When you get your packet, your stewardship packets that are in the back of the church here, be sure to get out the card that has Sarah's lovely testimonial on it. But since it's Family Sunday, I would sort of like to talk to the church as well about decisions, about money. I know you faced a decision last night about candy versus stuff. And that's more or less the way I want to take this thing. Stewardship, frankly, is about money. Man cannot live by bread alone. This church didn't build itself. It's been here since 1997. As you can see on the sign out there, it's a long time ago, but guess what? It's not paid for. The collection we take up every Sunday, a part of that has to go back to the bank to pay our mortgage. And most of our parents are probably going through that same thing with the houses that you live in. So that's one. So if you're at the candy store, begging your parents to buy you this or that, think about that. It's a decision you're all going to have to make when you fill out those pledge cards. Another big one is pastor's salary. Pastor Ryan does many good things all week long. He visits the sick, he visits old people, he goes to meetings with the African American community to try to tone down violence. There are churches that cannot pay a pastor a living wage, where the pastor has to go out and sell insurance all week and then come in on Sunday and preach a sermon. I don't think that's a good situation. But I am excited because starting next year, we are going to have something in this church we haven't had for ages and ages and ages. We're going to have a pastor's kid. And I'm excited about that because I am a silly person. You all haven't seen that side of me. But if you ever meet my great nieces and nephews, they'll say, oh yeah, that Uncle Marky Mark, he's the silliest guy I know. So I talk about churches that can't afford to pay their pastor. There are also churches where most of the kids are coming in wearing designer clothes and the preacher's kids get their clothes from Goodwill. That's not such a good situation either. So I guess I'm just asking all of you to think about it. Have you all done percents in school yet? Okay, but some of the younger kids probably not. Well, they're tuning me out anyway. Tradition is 9 for you, 1 for the church. That's called a tithe. Any questions about that? Then I think I'll sit down. It's stewardship time. We are in that season. We passed out the cards last week. I believe December 6th is the official pledging day. But if you've already filled out your card and want to put it in the collection plate, that's perfectly fine also. So we have an attorney this morning giving testimony instead of making testimony. I'll turn it right over to Chris Rizek.
Today I was asked to say something about this church and what it means to me, and I thought I would start by making a small confession. Of course, Jesus teaches that we're all sinners. We all sin. We all have vices. We all have weaknesses. Even Jesus himself was subject to temptation. I know that I am imperfect in many, many ways. So now I will come before you and I'll admit one of my own vices. I hope this isn't too graphic for you, but I'll come right out and say it. I like country music. I know it's shocking. I can't help myself. I just have a weakness for it. I grew up in Tucson in the 60s. I listened to it all the time on the radio. I subject my children to lengthy history lessons on the Hank Williams lyrics and Patsy Cline's phrasing. I find ready quotes in country music for all occasions. And so when I was asked to talk about this church, I thought naturally of a country song. This one's by Toby Keith. Some of you may know him. It was a big hit for him in the late 90s. It's called I Love This Bar. Like all country songs, it's about vice. I will not sing it for you because that would really cause you all to go scream in the room, but I thought I'd read you some of the lyrics. We got winners, we got losers, chain smokers and boozers, we got yuppies, we got bikers, we got thirsty hitchhikers, and the girls next door dress up like movie stars. I love this bar. We got cowboys, we got truckers, broken-hearted fools and suckers. Like I said, this is a country song. We got hustlers, we got fighters, early birds and all-nighters, and the veterans talk about their battle scars. I love this bar. You all know this song? Okay. The chorus goes like this. I love this bar. It's my kind of place. Just walking through the front door puts a big smile on my face. It ain't too far. Come as you are. I love this bar. There's more, obviously, but I'll stop now. Obviously, the song is about how the singer has a local bar he frequents and how he loves it because it's open to everyone. It's very low key. Another point, he says they actually drink their beer from mason jars, which some of you can identify with, I'm sure. And everyone can be themselves there. Come as you are, as he says. It ain't too far. So now I think you all see why I thought of this song when I was asked to talk about this church. Because this bar is much like that church. Indeed, I think it's what every church should be. It's open to everyone. It's very supportive, and yet it's very low-key. It's my kind of place. Just walking through the front door puts a smile on my face. And everyone here can be themselves. It ain't too far. Come as you are. I love this church. I really do. When Anita and I were looking for a church in which our kids could worship and grow up, we went to a lot around here. But it's those things that kept us coming back here. We come to church with very different perspectives. She grew up, as I think most of you know, as a minister's daughter, literally next door to the church her father pastored. Whereas my family was a little bit less religious. We were more Christmas and Easter type churchgoers. And while it's obvious to her, because she grew up right next door to a church, working there day in and day out, I never realized how much work goes into making a church function and keeping it together and keeping the ground spruced up and keeping everything paid for and the lights on. So that's why I would urge you all to support this church. It doesn't run itself. And remember, when you do it, why you love this church. I think it's for the same reason Toby Keith loves that bar. Come as you are. Amen.
Voice earlier this week, so I was like, oh no. But as long as you can hear me okay, that's good. My name is Ashley. Many of you know me as that girl who came in with Sarah and the little twins about 18 months ago. I'm currently a Sunday school teacher for the Godly Play, the 2 to 8. Ironically, this is my week and none of them were here. So it worked out. I was going to bring them in anyway so they could hear me try to talk, but it worked out. I'm going to talk a little bit today about the time and talent portion of stewardship. And ironically, Pastor Ryan started talking about time. We are behind today. When we come into church on Sundays to worship and then afterwards to spend some fellowship time together, we dedicate that time out of our day to come in. Then why is it that Pastor Ryan made a point to say that we're running 10 minutes behind? It's It's because time is precious. We make a conscious choice every day, or sometimes unconscious, of how we're going to spend our time. We decide we're going to take an extra 10 minutes to sleep in because it's Monday morning and Mondays are awful. Or we decide that, it's okay if I'm just a couple minutes late to work today, I'll work late. Sometimes we choose, no, I'm not going to go to that family event. I'm mad at so-and-so second uncle twice removed. I'm not going to spend my time with them. But time is a precious resource. We never know how much of it we're going to have. Time, while not necessarily, I don't want to say it's more important than money, because our donations help keep this church thriving, but our time and our efforts and our talent that we donate to the church are very precious as well. Without us and our spirits and our time, there's no church. We can keep putting money, but that's just money in a building. Our time is precious. Our talents are precious. Pastor Ryan asked me to talk about time and talent because when I showed up 18 months ago, I taught him about the word voluntold. Has anyone heard voluntold before? That wasn't but from me. So, short story, I came 18 months ago as a guest of my friend Sarah, who had just started coming, and ironically found somebody I already knew. Jennifer and Sarah, who's Miss Lynn's daughter, we sung together for years in college. And she voluntold me that I was going to come in 2 weeks later and I was going to sing in the choir. I had no choice because we always sung together. She knew I could sing. She knew what I could do. And she goes, Ashley, you don't know. You're coming in. We're singing this song. Show up at 9. I'll see you in 2 weeks. And I just stood there and went, oh, okay. That same 2 weeks, I walked up to Irish and I said, do you need any help with the Sunday school? It's something that I had wanted to do, and in my past churches, you got assigned things. You weren't able to volunteer. You had to be of a special group to get to do things like that. And she goes, well, not right now, but maybe in the future. A couple weeks later, Jennifer comes up to me again, and she goes, you're going to be a Sunday school teacher, and walks away. I'm like, oh, okay. 18 months later, here I am in my second season of teaching the Godly Play class. Our time is very important. Whatever you can do, even if it's waking up 10 minutes earlier to come in and help warm the church in the morning, or spending an extra 15 minutes afterwards to help clean up after fellowship, or coming in during some of our mission time, or anything you can do is a help. Remember, our time is a limited resource. You can choose how to spend that. You can choose to use that to make a difference, or you can choose to not. To end with a story about just over a decade ago, I was at church where I went to school. I went to a private school for K-8. And I had gotten involved with the choir there and eventually the youth band, and I was a leader in the youth band. One Sunday I had a solo or two, and I had also played my flute, and an older gentleman came up to me afterwards and he goes, Miss, what you did today was beautiful, and I wanted to tell you that by using your God-given gifts and applying them, you are praying and praising twice as hard as someone who doesn't apply their God-given talents. That was almost 12 years ago now, and it's still stuck with me to this day. And I was 10, 11 when that happens. And sometimes your memory starts to go when you're younger then. You don't remember 10 or 11. I barely do. But that stuck with me. The fact that he said, by using your God-given talents, by spending that extra time, you're praising twice as hard. I wanted to share that with you when you're thinking about your stewardship and you're thinking about how you can donate your time and your special talents.
I'm really happy to speak here today at the Stewardship Moment because it's about a year ago, just over a year ago, that our family moved here from Chicago. And in October, I sent this random email to Ryan because I had 2.5 days in Annapolis to do a house inspection, find a new preschool for Alger, and I had to fit in a meeting with the new pastor at the UCC church. And it was very personal for me because Jamie and Andy Hanauer talked about how they did a lot of church shopping in Annapolis. Well, my husband and I had done the same thing in Chicago. And we found this wonderful UCC church, St. Paul's UCC church. and we loved it. It was in our neighborhood, it was a wonderful community, there was a lot of outreach, and opportunities to volunteer, and I was part of the Parents of Young Children group. And I can admit now, I probably wasn't really happy about the move when I first started here, or came here, and I realized that I wanted to go to something that was familiar and made me feel at home. And that's why I emailed Ryan, because I knew that I would find a home in the UCC church, and I definitely have. So I want to thank all of you. When we think about giving, we give because we're grateful. And I asked Ryan how much it actually costs to run the church each day. And it costs about $918. So, as you're thinking about your pledges for the next year, I want to thank you for all of you who pledged last year so Ryan was available to meet with me. I want to thank all of you for the day that we first came to church. And I remember this clearly. Jean was the first one to greet us. Hildy came and asked us to sit with us. Ashley took Alger back to teach, and Kelsey and Kylie really made them feel at home. And I think I'm the only person that Kathy came up and asked if she could have my email address and said, oh no, I'm already on the newsletter and I get the updates. And I remember talking to Sarah in the fellowship hour, and the thing that she said that she liked the most is she leaves feeling re-energized, and this is her time at peace, and it resonates with me. So as you're thinking about next year, $918, I ask you to think of how many days that you could pledge so you can have moments and give us moments like you gave our family. So thank you very much.